Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back. I'm Will Dragon and this is Suzerain. We are the president of Swordland and our country has fallen apart. Now I was definitely pushing this country probably well beyond the edge, but we started to make a small recovery. The economy, although wobbly, looks like it was on and up. Our government budget was slowly creeping back, maybe, to being further out of debt. But I don't know what's going to happen. But then we clicked next turn, so to say, and we lost 3 government budget. Our economy is tanked, and I'm not quite sure what's going on. So let's go find out. During the increasingly violent protests, 6 police officers were killed in Benfey. The police forces tasked in the area opened fire to retaliate. Civilians have been killed during the gunfire. The death toll is 38, while there are 21 wounded. Personnel involved in the killing have been suspended until further instructions. In Sana, the Sana agricultural zone has opened to the public. Long lines of farmers are waiting in line to apply for the new cooperation opportunities. The opening is expected to increase agricultural output of Sana by 40%. As per the reports, agricultural workers from nearby cities are also migrating, creating an influx of jobs and investments. On the other hand, the synergy between various investments across sectors remains low. A lack of alignment and coordination in investment strategies is leading to suboptimal results and slowed economic progress. Yeah, I kind of had that thought a little while ago. The current scenario underscores the need for a more integrated and strategic approach. For instance, we've done some agricultural things here, but then we've gone and made a railway between our 2 big cities. Doesn't really make too much sense. The tourism industry in Lakavan has dealt a heavy blow due to increasing regional instability. Visitors to the city have sharply declined as tourists opt for safer destinations. Yeah. The Central Bank and Ministry of Economy are tackling the extensive damages caused by the debt crisis and subsequent credit rating downgrade of Swordland. Yeah. The Fair Trade Commission has begun work in assessing the existing trade irregularities and unfairness. The first act of the Commission will be to create new trade regulations to balance import and export differences to ensure local competition can remain strong. In an announcement that has signified implications for regional geopolitics, the Republic of Morella, a progressively governed nation in South Macopa, has been accepted as a candidate for CSP membership. Morella's acceptance as a candidate marks a first for the CSP, the Alliance's first South Macopan nation to begin the process. Since the deployment of the police forces to combat the unrest, many attacks have occurred in remote cities. Ambushes are rampant and security forces are being pushed back. Police stations and patrols were the main targets of the militants. Alright, so what are we going to do about it? Human Dignity Bill is set before the Assembly to address the unintended consequences of the 1923 Legal Transactions Act. Section 1 revisits and amends Section 3 of the aforementioned Act, which previously allowed transactions involving non-registered businesses or other entities including individuals to be legalized, provided that accurate documentation was submitted to the Financial Authority. The HDB bill specifically revokes the legality of such transactions if they involve activities that infringe upon public morality. Transactions involving non-registered businesses or other entities including individuals. Okay, yeah, that does sound a little bit sordid. I feel like I may have an idea potentially of where they're going. I don't know. Section 2 directly addresses the inadvertent loophole created by the 1923 Act, which resulted in the unregulated existence of prostitution. This section of the HDB explicitly categorizes prostitution as an illegal activity, irrespective of whether it occurs within a registered or non-registered entity, thereby fortifying our commitment to uphold common decency and moral principles. Section 3 stipulates the penalties for violations of the provisions in the preceding sections. It deems prostitution an illegal offense subject to punitive measures as outlined by law. These measures can range from fines to imprisonment or both, depending on the severity and frequency of violations. Interesting act. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. I think by signing it, I'm not going to annoy people and not annoy people. By not signing it, I'm going to annoy people and not annoy people. Kind of makes sense. And if it can potentially stop certain illegal activity that's potentially linked to this, let's just go for that. More news stories and more things coming in. How did that do us for Human Dignity Act? Children for the Future Act. In continuation of the efforts to promote social progress and upliftment, the Parliament introduces the Children for Future Act. This act focuses on providing tangible support to families in need with particular attention to the welfare of children. This will cost me a government budget. Outlines a direct financial support. I don't even know if I'm reading it. I can't afford it, so it's going to get vetoed. Traditional values are Swordish law. That's the Human Dignity Bill. Security Act law. Bill's package, which was proposed by the Parliament. The package seemed extreme by some, including the Maroon Palace, would have seen new powers given to the security forces, such as the use of force and suspicion-based arrest. Election campaign ramps up across Swordland. USP reformists try to obstruct administration. Delaying bills. Way. Former VP steps back from public life. Okay. Swordish debt causes credit downgrade. Well, yes. That unfortunately happened. Swordland's credit rating downgraded. No future for Swordish children. Higher security proposal vetoed. Grand opening of Sana agricultural zone. Swordland's debt crash sends shockwaves across international markets. And I thought we were slowly starting to recover. Well then, the Swordish debt debacle. The mounting government budget deficit and unsustainable borrowing have led to concerns among investors and analysts about the nation's ability to service its debt. Swordland now faces a serious debt crisis. This lack of confidence has resulted in increasing borrowing costs, a reduction in foreign investment, and the risk of potential default, which could have far-reaching consequences for the Swordish economy. Like I said, I thought we were potentially current internal affairs. Thought we were potentially starting to climb out. I was, in fact, starting to climb out. As soon as I started to climb out, we got downgraded. Now, of course, I flirted with horrid debt crisis for a very long time, but a storm was on the horizon outside my window, and a storm of a different kind was brewing inside my office. I straightened myself on the sofa and looked at Carl. He was sitting on the couch across from me, ready to give me a report about an incident. I had just learned that a policeman gunned down an entire crowd. We stared at each other, not knowing how to react. A muscle in his jaw twitched. Sir, I know you wanted to establish talks with them, but these people do not understand diplomacy. Our men did their best to show restraint, but 6 officers were killed yesterday in Benfey. These are not innocent citizens anymore, Mr. President. They are killers. And so one of our boys had a reaction. I won't defend his action, but I will not let him be thrown under the bus either. Hundreds of rioters surrounded them, sir. There was a risk of lynching. He was authorized to carry a submachine gun, and he used it. He lowered his head. How many are we talking about, Carl? 38, sir, and 21 wounded. Of course, sir, he's already dismissed from duty. I know there is no excuse for it, sir, but I will make sure nothing like this ever happens again. Yes, sir. He stood up, bowed, and left the room. I saw a Zeppelin flying over the Maroon District. I have no alliances. I just got an achievement for having no alliances, but situation updated. Event available, blockade of Helgeland. Unruly generals. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Our news. Ladies' Bill struck down. There's a Women's Liberation Act proposed by the Ministry of Education with the blessing of First Lady. Completely failed to pass. This bill would have been upended Swordish traditional values by forcing undue burdens on women in the name of equality. Protesters respond to diplomacy. 6 officers KIA. Rich and standard rates. Swordland D. The prestigious credit rating agencies in the world has officially decided to downgrade the rating of Swordland from B to D. Oh, wow. Marquesia's dual approach to refugees. Headline CSP nations, blah, 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 blah. Visaland blockades Helgeland. Estord. Rumburg plain warned inside airspace. A lone Runbungan warplane violated our airspace by entering the territory of Swordland for 2 minutes and left after issuing a radio message. Alcohol Tax Act. We will gain a government budget. It's just going to happen. Fair Luxury Tax Act plus 2 government budget. Hang on, let's see how bad it is, though. In endeavor to enhance the equity of the taxation system and augment tax revenues, the Grand National Assembly introduced a fair luxury tax. SAC proposes an amendment to Section 6 of the Tax Code of 1949. Section 1 determines a 50% tax rate on luxury goods as categorized by the Ministry of Economy. The definition of luxury goods under this act includes but is not limited to jewelry, furs, sports coats, yachts, and private planes. The implementation of this tax is intended to ensure that those with the means to purchase such items contribute proportionally to the state's revenue. Establishes a 10% tax applicable in situations of purchase, sale, and property transfer, particularly in cases of inheritance. This measure seeks to promote fairness in the tax system, ensuring that significant wealth transfers contribute appropriately. Sure. Alright, we're back down to 14. If we hadn't had the sudden crash in the market, we'd be on 11 right now. We'd almost be out of double figures. And that is my goal, ladies and gentlemen, to get us out of double figures. Increased luxury goods prices. That's not a surprise. Alcohol consumption has been reduced, however. Luxury is now taxable. Reign to put a lid on alcohol consumption. Yes, let's at least have a sober country. I mean, they probably don't want to be sober with what I'm putting them through. The option to fund a political youth group is presented. No, I'm not going to fund anybody because I don't have the money and I don't really want to either. The economy is continuing to crash. Emergency call on an escalating situation. Briefing on the Marcel Caronti investigation. We'll go for the emergency call first. I was woken up in the middle of the night by a call from the Ministry of Defense. Due to the sensitivity of the information, I had to urgently be briefed in person. Put on my clothes as fast as I could. I rushed downstairs and opened the door. Serge was waiting for me. Mr. President, this way to the car, please. We got into the car, made our way to the Ministry of Defense building without a word. I arrived and was directed downstairs. I came to a set of large doors and quickly read the sign above them. The sign read, War Room. The dimly lit room was filled with cutting-edge equipment, the latest video screens, long-range radio electronics, and other devices used for communication, presentation, and planning. The centerpiece of the room was a large round table with the coat of arms of Swordland engraved on it. David, Lucian, Valken, and Iosef were already deep in discussion. I agree with your sentiments, Mr. Lancia. Going to war is simply too risky. We must maintain peace in Swordland and eastern Makopa at all costs. I agree we have much to lose. Have some faith in our soldiers. Who's this guy? Chief of the Armed Forces, right. Status report now. Mr. President, thank you for coming in at this late hour. There is a situation. Falcon, please go ahead and provide your report. Mr. President, approximately 20 minutes ago, Rumberg downed one of our planes with anti-aircraft fire from the ground. The pilot was declared KIA. The last recorded position of the plane was inside Swordish airspace. General Kruger, I mean no offense, but are we absolutely sure that is the case? Are you sure this happened within our borders? No offense taken, here are the locations on the map and the report from the airbase. He pointed to several markers on the map. To answer your question, yes, we are absolutely sure. You can see here on the map that the plane was downed approximately 10 kilometers inside our borders. We have calculated the trajectory of the gunfire, and they started firing when our plane was within our border. The plane was downed near Halgan. A war with Rumberg is the last thing we want right now. I completely agree. It looks like they are trying to lure us into their trap. This is an attack against Swordland, and under different circumstances the response to that is clear. But the current status of our military is also clear. We are not adequately equipped for such a foe. I agree with Mr. President. We can't look weak. If we appear weak, they will jump on the opportunity. We must order a military retaliation immediately. Did you start losing your common sense, General Valken? You know the state our army is in right now. A retaliation is too risky. When was our job not risky, Mr. Lancia? Mr. President, our army is ready to do whatever it takes to protect Swordland. Gentlemen, before it comes to that point, we can prevent further bloodshed by using diplomacy. The room fell silent before Iosef finally spoke up. Mr. President, what are your orders? No one wants war. Lucian's tensed-up shoulders relaxed. Thank you, sir. I will immediately begin working on it. With Mr. Weese's capabilities, I'm sure we will de-escalate the situation successfully. We will keep you updated on our progress. This is our best bet. If you ask me, this is just plain old weakness we are showing them right now. I am frankly disappointed, Mr. President. We can't even retaliate at such an attack. What will become of this country in the future? Peace must be maintained at all costs. I am saying this as a man who has seen too many years of war. We are not the ones that are attacking the peace. Regardless, it looks like your decision has been made, Mr. President. I know when I am not needed. I will take my leave. Before he left the room, he saluted. Well, now that we know the way forward, I have an idea, Mr. President. I think we should hold a military parade to display our strength. I am with Mr. Lancier on this one. This should work well as a deterrent, and it will come in handy as a tool to de-escalate the situation. Simple and effective without causing any ruckus. Makes sense. Understood. That is all, Mr. President. I will keep you updated on the situation. For now, have a good night's sleep. You will need it. I couldn't sleep at all that night. Shock and horror. Okay, so of course our news is going to be Swordfish plane shot down. Had the guts to claim that our plane was shot for violating their airspace, even though they previously did violate their airspace and we didn't touch theirs. Republic of Wellen. Wellen raises concerns over Rumberg posturing. Escalating tension in the region, Wellen's president, Vector Smolek, has issued a statement raising concerns about Rumberg's aggressive maneuvers. Expressing unease over Rumberg's clandestine support for the British Freedom Front, Smolek warned Swordland to stay vigilant. This warning comes on the heels of a recent aerial engagement between Swordland and Rumberg, further inflaming the already volatile atmosphere. Okay, and so then over in Wholesale, the briefing on the Marcel Caronti investigation. Can we take him for everything he's worth? That might get me some government budget. I was walking down the corridor towards my office on the way back from lunch. Right next to the door, Lilius, Nia, and Carl were waiting. They approached me. Mr. President, there's been an important update on the Caronti investigation. An informant from HOS contacted us. He was identified as a low-level executive. Can we trust this informant? Carl stepped forward and bowed. We have interrogated him thoroughly and confirmed the information he gave us. We now have proof that a subsidiary of HOS, Conrath Holdings, is a shell corporation engaged in money laundering for the Coronelli cartel. Over the past 3 years, approximately 50 million Swordfish Ren from the Coronelli's drug and weapons smuggling activities has gone through the corporation with Marcel Caronti's implicit approval. That settles it then. What is the plan? The time has come. Frankly, we have been preparing for this possibility. Please follow us, the comms room. Nia gestured towards the door and I followed the two women down the hall. We descended the spiral staircase at the very edge of the palace, close to where my office was located. Going through narrower corridors, then upstairs, we came in front of a large door with a shield and a goat carved on it. Nia opened the door and we entered. After taking our seats, she gave me a sheepish look. Mr. President, I said we have been preparing for this opportunity, but that might have been an understatement. Our attack teams are ready to go. They've surrounded Mr. Caronti's villa in Estor. She nodded at Carl. Carl leaned forward and spoke into the microphone. Begin. We sat there for a few minutes, waiting anxiously. Finally, Carl received a radio transmission. Mr. Caronti has been successfully captured. Well done. Now that he's been arrested, Swordland would have one less traitor. We will learn the truth from him directly. All of his contacts, everyone he has been dealing with. I want to especially confirm the rumor about his contact in the administration. We will squeeze every single drop of information we can out from him, one way or another. As you said, one less traitor. Indeed. The news ought to break any moment now. This was all for today, Mr. President. We will keep you posted. Thank you for your time. Again, can I take all of his property? Like, is that too dictatory? I mean, the government could do with some more budget, and he still probably has a lot of stuff. Sort of now felt a little bit safer now that Marcel had been taken care of. For how long? I wondered. Joint investigation, improve the link, and now awaits trial in Antal Rock. Alright then. Call with Evelyn Vecturn. Ah, Peter's ex-wife. Midnight. I was in the living room watching the tail end of a news report when I heard the phone ring. I sighed and walked over to the phone, wondering who could be calling me this late. I picked it up. Hello, who is this? I heard a soft voice from the other end. Hello, Anton? This is Evelyn. Sorry for calling so late. Is something wrong? Yes, no, I don't know, actually. Alright, let's talk. The thing is, I was supposed to meet with Peter today to hand him the signed divorce papers, but he didn't come to our designated meeting point. I figured he might have been too drunk to remember, so I went to the apartment he's been renting, but he wasn't there either. I asked around, the landlord, the neighbors, his friends. No one knows where he is. Trust me, Anton, I couldn't be more excited to be rid of this man, but I can't close off this chapter of my life without his cooperation. I'm sure he'll turn up. I don't know, Anton, he was in bad shape after your press conference. Can't you get your police contacts to look into this, just to be on the safe side? Alright, if it'll give you peace of mind, I will. Thanks, Anton, that'd be great. I knew, by the way, about all his affairs. I'm so sorry I never came to you about it. I'm sorry what happened between you two. Thanks, I guess. Her voice sounded tired. Good night. Goodbye. The line dropped. As I put down the phone, Monica sleepily approached with a glass of water in her hand. Who was that? Is everything alright? She said Peter went missing. Drowning his sorrows, I wager. I'm surprised she still cares about him. She was a good influence on him. For a while, she made her way upstairs. Call Carl and ask him about Peter. Yes, Mr. President. Sorry for calling this late. Not a problem, sir. I only sleep for 3 15-minute intervals per night. What? I only sleep for 3 15-minute... He gets 45 minutes sleep a night. Wow. I need you to find someone, as you wish. I heard the faint rustling of a notepad being opened. Who do you want found, sir? Peter Vecton. As you command, I will report my findings shortly. Thank you for your help, as always. Have a good night. He hung up, I put away the phone and went down to the bedroom to get some sleep. As I was eating breakfast the next morning, the phone rang. I picked it up. It was Carl. Good morning, Mr. President. Morning, Carl. This isn't easy for me to say. I have some unfortunate news regarding Mr. Vectorn. His wedding ring, a half-empty bottle of pills, and a handwritten note were found on a bridge overlooking the Unger River. We surmise that he took his own life. What did the note say? He wished it to be read to Evelyn alone, sir. Would you like to break the news to Mrs. Vectorn, or should I? I'll tell Evelyn, thanks again for your help. Of course, sir. Carl hung up. With a heavy heart, I started thinking about what I would say to Evelyn. Well, there goes the ex-president. News. Former Vice President's suicide confirmed. Peter Vectorn commits suicide. He has a private read the report. Evelyn Vectorn has notified us about Peter Vectorn not being able to reach. Can we find any property in Swordland and was last seen traveling to... oh yeah, we know what's happened to him though. That's a bit weird. Peter Vectorn's funeral. Arrange a regular funeral. I don't think it's, quite state funeral to be celebrating, potentially. Funeral of Peter Vectorn. Our convoy pulled up to the gates of the public cemetery in Erleroy, Peter's hometown. Monica and Indiana were beside me in the car. The news of Peter's death had hit Frank especially hard. Rather than attend the funeral, he had taken a few days of personal leave from the army to have time to himself. Monica's looked numb and empty. Deanna appeared to be deep in thought. But how did Uncle Peter die? Why won't anyone tell me? Monica looked like she was about to cry. It doesn't matter, sweetheart. She turned her head to look out the window, hiding her tears. Hug Monica. Papa, tell me the truth. He killed himself, Deanna. But why? She is still too young. Better to remember Uncle Peter the way he lived, not by the way he died. Do not reply. The driver's window rolled down. We have arrived, Mr. President. My deepest condolences. I know you and Mr. Vectorn were very close. Thank you, Serge. Serge went outside and opened our door. As soon as we stepped out, camera flashes went off. Evelyn Vectorn was waiting for us. Upon seeing her, Monica ran up to her and they hugged. Evelyn, I'm so sorry. How are you holding up? So-so. It's hard to play the bereaved widow, knowing the kind of man he really was. But still, we were married almost 20 years. And the way he died, it's just too sudden. They hugged once again. Evelyn wiped her tears and patted Deanna on the head before turning to me. Hug her. I hugged her. She took my hands in hers as she pulled back. I know there's nothing either of us could have done, but I still can't help feeling responsible for this. It's not your fault, Evelyn. Evelyn swallowed hard, her eyes filled with resolve. All right, let's go. The four of us, Evelyn, Monica, Deanna, and I, took our places in front of the Vecton family plot. The crowd was sparse. Peter hadn't had many friends left by the end. His father and brothers lifted the coffin on their shoulders and brought it to the grave. The priest completed his ceremony. It was time for me to make a speech. Today we mourn Peter Vecton, the 4th Vice President of Swordland, and... my brother. Our bond was not a bond of blood, it was something stronger. It was a bond of friendship and camaraderie. In God's word says no man can be perfect, and Peter was certainly no exception. Despite his unconscionable actions towards the very end of his life, I chose to remember him as he was. I wouldn't be president if not for him. That's what he would have wanted. Farewell, brother, you will be missed. Amid the applause, I went back to join Monica and Deanna. As I walked past Evelyn, she mouthed the words, "Thank you." The priest's voice cut through the silence. Everyone joined in the prayer he was chanting. Looking at the coffin, I shuddered. The coffin started to be lowered into the grave. I had known Peter for almost 30 years. The time we spent together flashed back before my eyes, the good memories and the bad ones. All of it. It didn't matter anymore. He was gone. I felt a tug on my left arm. Are you crying? Surprised, I checked my face. My eyes were wet. Yes. She hugged my leg. Come on, Deanna, let's go. The coffin was fully lowered and the tombstone placed. The crowd began dispersing. Leave a bottle of whiskey on the grave. I stayed there by myself for another half an hour. The sun finally set after painting the sky blood red. Well, ex-vice president and best friend has passed. Was deeply troubled man, and the whole Sword Post sends its thoughts and prayers to Peter Vecton's friends and family. President Rain and Vecton had been friends since they attended university together. Sadly, following his affair with the Rumburg spy, Vecton has taken his own life. Unfortunate moments, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunate moments. It had been a while since Peter disappeared from our lives. I still found myself thinking of jokes he'd find funny or wanting to tell him what had happened at my last meeting. But the grief was beginning to fade. Monica visited Evelyn often at first, helping her process her mixed emotions. Eventually, Evelyn sold Peter's villa in Erleroy and used the proceeds to travel the world, something she'd always wanted to do when she and Peter were together. For myself and Monica, though, life in the capital had to go on, and it did. After weeks of late nights, Monica, Ciara, and the Women's Rights Commission had succeeded in presenting their bill before the Assembly, only for it to fail. I left work early, expecting my wife would be in need of comfort. But it had been hours since I'd gotten home and she still wasn't there. I was dozing on the couch after yet another frozen TV dinner when I heard the key turn in the lock. Monica stumbled into the hall. Honey, I'm home. Kiss her. Her breath smelled like gin. I was just having a few drinks with Ciara. We were so close to winning, Anton. Those goddamn Assembly people ruined it all. She collapsed onto the couch and buried her head in her hands. You could have invited me to the commiseration session. Oh, you would have found it boring and somebody had to look after Deanna. Starting to see what I put you through for all those years. Get used to it, baby. Seriously, Anton. This is what I want to do. I've never felt so alive. Show her the framed photo you took from your old office. Look at us. But as madly in love with you as I was the day that photo was taken. Monica smiled, took my hand, and wordlessly led me upstairs to the bedroom. Alright. Behave yourself, game. Behave yourself. News. We're still on a -14. Armed groups declare war against the state. After the government's response to the protests, certain groups within the protesters released a joint statement declaring Anton Rein's presidency to be over. The groups called every protester and citizen to join what they called a march for freedom. While being no match for the honourable Swedish security personnel, it is disgusting that such armed groups can infiltrate protesters and ignite bloody conflicts. Swordsland's largest military parade ever. During the glorious day, tanks will roll, jets will fly, our soldiers will march. Deadly ambush in Jen. There have been at least 9 different attacks on police forces by various armed groups since last Monday, the last of which occurred in Jen's Maroon Avenue. 8 militants disguised as construction workers entered the construction zone near the avenue and ambushed 2 police vehicles. The attackers were immediately killed, but 6 policemen were killed in the ambush. WPB record membership number. The Workers' Party of Bludia, there is a massive increase in their membership, breaking a new record for the party. Polls also show that the popularity of the party has reached new heights in Bergia and is expected to finish the first or the second in the region of Bergia. Sordland creates peace line to avert war. Following Rumberg's demands for reparations from Sordland, the tensions have increased dramatically between the two countries. Yesterday, a Swedish warplane was shot down by the Rumberg anti-air systems and all of the pilots on board have been killed. As per the information from Rumberg, the Swedish warplane has trespassed into Rumbergian airspace, whereas Swedish military reports that the plane was inside Swedish borders when it was shot down. The international community is unclear of the certainty of the reports from both sides. Thankfully, the Swedish administration approached the incident calmly and established a peace line to avert war between the two countries. What has changed? Situations, probably a bad one. Limited security powers. Oh, there's so many reports. Lucian Glad organized a one-on-one interview for the presidency on the international renowned one-on-one. The famous journalist Tumas Saka will be asking the questions. The crew of the one-on-one and Tumas Saka will arrive next week in Lakavan from Beirut. Launches Unified Intelligence Agency, marks a significant milestone in collective security. Establishment of the complex Unified Intelligence Network. This unprecedented network consolidates the intelligence capabilities of all CSP member nations, enabling a higher level of operational synergy. Nope. Erleroy. Nope. Whole Sword. Ministry of Interior has reported that Sordland is suffering from low stability due to the amount of active crisis the country is facing. Different elements of government and structures of order are operating past their operational limits. According to the intelligence report, Viking Navy gathered in full force around Haugeland, blockading the island. The reports warn about a possible violent conflict between Agnolia and Vagslandian forces. Swedish Navy in Comriat is on standby. The Arcasian Treaty. The ATO has formally requested land and naval transit rights from the Confederacy of Yark-Trallis, aiming to ensure a more secure passage that bypasses southern Contana and southern Xena. This request underscores both Yark-Trallis' strategic geopolitical importance and the ATO's desire to maintain open lines of communication and transit with the Confederacy. However, the Confederacy of Yark-Trallis, steadfast in its commitment to sovereignty and territorial integrity, firmly rejected the ATO's request. Okay, and then in Amrika, election speech at the USP headquarters. Ooh, I was starting to peek through the blinds of my suite in the Grand Chariot Hotel in Amrika. I hadn't slept at all that night. I was too busy thinking about how I would rally my party's conservative base at today's election kickoff. I was just pulling on my clothes when 2 soft, sharp knocks came at the door. Good morning, sir. Morning, Lucian. Lucian unclasped his briefcase and took out a small, disc-shaped device. After scanning the room with it, he gave a satisfied nod. It's about your investigation into the oligarchs. As you know, Marcel Caronti is currently out of the picture, but there's been a very interesting update regarding Mr. Tusk. The anti-corruption police have looked further into Walter Tusk's foreign ties and found some very unsettling information. One of his corporation's subsidiaries is directly involved in smuggling and selling Rumbergian Ka-74s within Sordland. That traitor. This is treason on the highest level. There's no doubt Tusk must be punished. Would you like to go forth with his arrest and trial, sir? Yes. You should nod it smoothly. As you wish, I'll make the necessary calls immediately. Now that's settled, I'll let you prepare for your rally. I almost forgot. The Archpriest of Dyer couldn't be present today, but wanted to relay a message of support to you and your family. What did he say? I bless the rains down in Amrika. I'm sorry. I bless the rains down in Africa. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is too close. Lucian left the room. I finished putting on my tie and reread my notes for the morning speech. A few hours later, I was waiting in the wings at the Norsword Auditorium in Namrika. In the audience were several thousand of my conservative supporters. Behind the podium hung a Swedish flag and a giant banner that read, "Victory is close." Enrica Mayor Curtin Lest gave a short introductory speech. It was hard to forget how the Benfi event went down. Everyone cheered as I walked on stage. Though Mayor Curtin Lest was now part of the opposition as a member of the NFP, it seemed most of Enrica was still on my side. Lucian gave a short speech introducing me, then it was my turn. I stepped behind the podium and took a deep breath. Sons and daughters of Swordland. I've seen our country tested again and again. I do pledge myself to God and Swordland yet again, yet the Swordland has prevailed. Under my administration, we are stronger than ever. Swordland administration stands strong, ready to lead Swordland to greatness once more. And to Swordland yet again. With my re-election, I will finish pulling Swordland's economy from the depths of recession. I've begun to fix the disastrous economy decisions of my predecessors. We will get the economy crisis under control. Disastrous economy decisions of my predecessors. I will finish pulling Swordland's economy from the depths of recession. As our administrative intention to tear us apart, I promise I will uphold law and order. I promise I will restore harmony. I will continue to defend Swordland against threats, whether internal or external. Fight for the constitutional reforms Swordland deserves. For the constitutional reforms Swordland deserves. And I will continue to root out corruption and wrongdoing, even within the institutions we hold dear. Plagued corporations for far too long, thunderous applause erupted. Swordland has changed, but the USP remains as strong as ever. I am the USP. No, we'll go for the top one. There has been tremendous progress made this term, and more is to come. I have devoted an unprecedented amount of effort towards making Swordland's economy the best in the world. We will not lose. There's been a tremendous progress made this term, and more is to come. I and the Vice President Glad shall lead Swordland into a bright new era. The experience and expertise of Vice President Glad will help guide us into a brilliant future. Into a bright new era. The roar shook the hall. We will form a broad coalition of supporters to make sure morning finally comes. Make sure morning finally comes. And Morgna West Core. The audience enthusiastically finished the saying as streamers shot out of the cannons behind me. My re-election campaign had officially begun. I stepped down from the podium. Alright, well that went a lot better than I was fearing. Connections have updated. Interesting. What have we got? Factions. The Old Guard. The Reformists. Oh, the Oligarchs. Mikhail Avon, chairman of the NBC. Oh. Is that by any chance due to the fact that certain people may or may not have just been arrested? It's still claiming there's something here. Not quite sure what, though. Oh, there you go. It's disappeared. But we are going to leave the episode there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed it. And until we see you again, as per always, I hope that you will stay safe, happy, and healthy.